Guys, we are back in Python. Student becomes the teacher. As you can see, I've started it, and I really struggled with student becomes the teacher. I'm not quite sure why, but I'm going to start fresh. I didn't want to put up a 45-minute video in something that should have been 15, and so we'll be resetting a little bit of the code here. I don't know why it took me so long. Maybe I was just having an off day, and it's been about 5 days since I've messed with it, but let's get started with it. We're going to go back to the beginning. Alright, so if you remember correctly, we're going to be making dictionaries. So they have a good example here of animal sounds. So we're basically going to be creating a Lloyd equals dictionary. And we're going to creating an Alice dictionary. And we're going to and make sure that we're working with Python now, so you can see my indentation's already dropping the ball. So make sure you do the same thing here. So we have a Tyler equals. Alright, and in there we're going to give them each a name key, homework, quizzes, and tests. And the name key should be the name of the student. So let's see here. We're going to have name, and then this is going to be colon. Actually, I don't think we need that. I think we can just do it like this. So it's going to be quotations, and it's going to be Lloyd, and then comma, and then we're going to be doing a homework. Alright, and the other ones are going to be empty lists, so comma, and then we're going to be doing quizzes. And then the last one is going to be tests. And in the interest of time, we're going to copy pasta this into the other dictionaries. And we have Alice, and we have Tyler. So let's see if this worked. I may need to put empty spaces. Cool. So we have name, and then we have Lloyd. So something's going on here with our quotes. Let's see if that fixes it. Your code through a global variable named Lloyd. Lloyd is not defined. Homework, comma. Alright, let's go back to the way we had it. And then empty brackets. Empty brackets. Let's see if that fixes it. Line 5 tests. Don't forget our colon. Oh. Alright, so to do the empty, to keep them empty, make sure you put some brackets or some spaces or something. So we'll use the brackets because we're going to have multiple quizzes and tests. And there we go. So we've set up our 3 dictionaries. So now we want to fill up these empty excuse me, these empty homework, quizzes, and tests. So we have 90.0, 97.0, 75.0, and 92.0. Same thing with quizzes, 88.0, 40.0, and 94.0. And then our 2 tests, 75.0 and 90.0. And thankfully, they filled out the other ones. Good to go. So we now want to create a list called students that stores the data of, let's see here, Lloyd, Alice, Tyler. So there we go. So this is basically storing. We're creating a list that stores these 3 dictionaries. Alright, and now we want to create a for loop that prints out the student's data as follows. So for I in students, colon, and I is Lloyd, Alice, and Tyler in this case. We want to say I Oh, we want to print I, and then name, print I, and then homework. And that, guys, just a quick household thing. All right, so we are printing out the student, the individual student homework, and we got to do the same thing for quizzes. Print I, and then quizzes, and then we have to print I test, and I believe this should work. And there you go. So it's iterating through, starting with Lloyd, then Alice, then Tyler, and it's giving us all our values. Cool. So what are we doing here? So we need to, let's make sure, cut that out. We need to get class average. So we're going to define a function. So remember, def get underscore class underscore average, and it takes one argument, students. Now what? You can expect students to be a list containing 3 students. First, make an empty list called results. So, alright, so we'll say results equal, and then an empty list. For each student in the class list, calculate get average student. So this is something, oh, it looks like we jumped some here, so sorry about that. So I was like, wow, this looks a little bit much. Okay, so we did for the record, save, submit, and now we go on to number 5. It's okay to be average, so write a function called average. So def average, that has one argument, numbers. So this is going to take in numbers. Inside the function, call the built-in sum function with the numbers list as a parameter. So if you look above, this kind of shows you what's going on here. So, not what I meant to do. Built-in sum function with numbers, store the result in a variable total. So we'll say total is equal to the sum numbers. Total equals total plus sum numbers. Like the example above, use float to convert total and store the result in total. So we will have float. No. Do not use list as parameter function. Like the example above, float total and store the result in total. So total equals float total, and then divide total by the length of numbers. Total divided by len of total, and then return total. Let's see if that works. Oops. Let's see here. So average numbers from total. And all right. So try again. Average to result in error. Local variable total reference before assignment. All right. So let's see what's going on here. We'll set total equal to 0. Save and submit. Object of float has no length. See what we're doing wrong here. So total is just equal to some numbers, and we don't need to do it like that. Also, this I believe is correct, but we forgot to actually set total. So total is equal to the numbers, the sum of the numbers, then we're going to float it so it becomes a decimal properly, and then we are going to say length, and that should be it right there. Object of float has no length. Oh, and this needs to be numbers. So, because it's not the length of total. Total is just one number in this case. Numbers is multiple numbers. Alright, so let's copy this because even now after doing this, I'm studying, so I'm struggling with it a little bit, so we want to be able to take a look at it if we get stuck. So define a function called get_average that takes a student dictionary as input, and so we'll say student is what it says there. Make a variable homework that stores average, so we'll say homework is equal to our average function of the student homework. So repeat step 2 for quizzes and tests, so we'll have quizzes equal average student, and then in here we have quizzes, and then make sure you spell things right, and then we have tests, multiply the 3 averages by their rate, and return the sum of those 3. Alright, so it says right here that these are weighted different, so let's do this. We want to multiply that. So homework is 10% by 0.10. Quizzes are 30%, so 0.30, and the remainder is 60%, so times by 0.6. And then we want to return homework plus quizzes plus tests. Alright, there seems to be something wrong. See the console? Alright, so it looks like we forgot a bracket here. And bam, we're good to go. We don't actually, we just know it's working because it's telling us it's working, but we haven't actually messed with it yet. So let's go ahead and copy this real quick so that we can reference back if we need to. So def get letter grade. All right, so it looks like now we're going to be taking in a parameter score, and in here we're going to be writing some if, elif, and else statements. So there's a couple ways we can do this. Earlier when I did this, I do remember that they wanted you to do it in the order of if. I did it a slightly different way with that would have worked the same results, but because we're using CodeCademy, just do it the way they want. Otherwise it won't work. So we're going to start with if. So we're going to say if score is greater than or equal to 90, return an A grade. Then we're going to do elif. The reason we do elif instead of just if is if we just did if, it would, and you got a 90, you'd get an A, a B, a C, a D, and E. But elif, bam, good to go. Like you only do it if the one before it didn't work. So anyhow, so score is greater than or equal to 80. And that the reason that we can do greater than or equal to 80 and not greater than or equal to 80 but less than 90 is because we're using elif. So that's how I did it before, but this is how they want you to do it. So this is in theory this is probably supposed to be easier. And then we're going to return a C. They seem to be using a standard grading scale. And here we return D, and then this is right. No, this is wrong, so 60. And then else, if it's anything else, return F. And then finally it asks us, it asks us to call the function, so get underscore letter underscore grade, and we're going to call it on Lloyd, it looks like. So syntax error, return D. Looks like I forgot a bracket. Let's run it one more time. Else, forgot a colon. There you go. And for whatever reason, it doesn't return a letter grade. So let's try that one more time, see what's going on here. So I don't know why it doesn't return it. I guess it returns it, but doesn't print it. So let's try, whatever, it works. That's all that matters right now. All right, so we are going to get class average, get letter grade, what are we adding here so I can make sure we don't stumble. Get average. Oh, this is where I started last time. Okay, cool. So we're back to where I was at. So you can see that we have quite a bit of code here. We're gonna, actually for the sake of space and convenience, we'll be doing it right here instead of at the bottom like I normally would. So we're gonna define one that's called get class average. It's gonna take in one argument, students. In this students, you can expect the student to do this. First, make an empty list called results. So remember, results equal empty. For each student, all right, so for I in students, for each student in the class list, calculate get average student. Get underscore average underscore student. And then remember that the student in this case is I, because we're getting them from our students list. And then call results to append with the results. Finally return the result. And then, so we get that. Then we want the results dot append. Actually, I think we can throw this in here. So there's no need to do it like that. So that should work. And finally, we want to break out of our for loop here. And in it, we want to return the result of calling average with results. Then we'll say results equals average results, and then return results. Let's see if that works. All right, so we have to call it actually. So let's get rid of the get letter grade Lloyd. And finally return the results of. All right, so we want to say def. Oh, excuse me. So we're going to say students is equal to Lloyd, Alice, Tyler. And then we want to call get underscore class underscore average with students. Did I spell this wrong? Get class average. Get average student is not defined. Oh, get average. Let's see if this is what our mistake was. Bam, so that's good to go. It seems to be working just fine. And finally, we need to print out the result of get class average from your students list. So let's go ahead and print this. Your students should be Lloyd, Alice, and Tyler. And then print also get underscore letter underscore grade on students. The print with the result of get letter grade. Okay, so what we want to do here is just kind of loop these functions a little bit. So the first one that we're going to print here is going to be the class average. And so we want to take this, just go ahead and copy this, and we want the get letter grade. So we're going to call get underscore letter underscore grade, and it's going to get its number from our get class average students function. And bam, so 83% is the average, and with a B being the average grade here. So pretty good class, probably. I mean, I would say 83, almost 84% is pretty solid. So in the next Python video, what we'll be doing is lists and functions. So we'll be working a little bit with what we did there and just taking it to the next level probably. And I'll see you guys in the next video. And as always, questions and comments are appreciated. And if there's ever anything, even not Python related, coding wise, that you're interested in, that you need a question answered, go ahead and leave me a comment below. And if I can, I'll make a video about it.